In this video, I'm going to be talking to you about a bunch of changes that are coming to the MadMatt 4 drive. And so it's going to be a little bit different to our normal video, a little bit more conversational and all that. But I know many of you guys are big supporters of what we do here, which is greatly appreciated, I might say. And it motivates Mrs. MadMatt and myself to keep doing what we do here at MadMatt 4 Drive. And so some of these changes are going to affect you guys, but I hope in this video I can help you understand why these changes are happening, and I'm pretty sure most of you will be very, very supportive of the changes and look forward to the exciting future that we have coming. So, you know, who would have thought that 8 years ago, Mrs. MadMatt and I would start this little idea of making YouTube videos so that we could help people get out there and wheel well. We had no idea what we were doing, and we had no idea what it was going to become. But now it's a business which we can live off, and you know, it's been an awful lot of hard yards, working 2 jobs to make sure we're feeding the family and all that sort of stuff, learning how to be a presenter, Mrs. MadMatt learning how to film and edit the content, and at the end of the day, she's the total engine room of the business and really does do all the heavy lifting. There's no two ways about that. And yet here we are, a little business that's, I think, making an impact in the 4 drive community across the globe, because we're just trying to be that positive contributor, help people get out there and wheel well, and I think we're doing that. I'm amazed, I'm humbled. I think it's just blows us away. So we've got to that point in life where we're empty nesters. Well, we're we're about to be very shortly. Our youngest son, Jesse, who owns the COVID 80, he's doing his HSC now, so his final year of school, and he's about to head out into the big bad world. He's keen as mustard to get out there and take on the world and do stuff. Our eldest son, Aaron, he's studying and in the military to be an officer in the Australian Army, and is also out of home and doing really well. So our family is now at that point where our boys are out there in the world and we're free. So we're free in many ways to start setting ourselves up to do MadMatt full time, but to do it in a bigger way and to do some bigger things with it. And we've got dreams and about what that can look like, and we're not certain exactly what all of them are going to be look like. So some of these things are, for example, we've been living in Sydney for the last 30 odd years. Before we got married, we lived in Sydney, and then we got married, and we've been in the northwestern section of Sydney for all of those years. We've raised our family here. But we're going to sell up in Sydney, and we're going to move in somewhere. So if you want to have a guess, well, put a comment down below as to where we might be moving to. Where do you think we should move to? Next door to you, I imagine, is what you're thinking. Well, you never know. We've got to live next door to somebody. So we're going to be selling up in Sydney, and we're going to move. And we're quite excited about that, because this will be a place that we'll be able to buy with just our needs in mind, and so on. So it's going to have a big shed. That's the main thing. And a hoist. So we're pretty excited about that. So the other thing we've been working on with the guys at A24/7, so Sam and Mark and Troy, these guys have just, as we've worked with them over the last year and a half, 2 years, they've really become a valuable part of our business, and we're all on very much a similar page with regards to why we do what we do. And they've been working with us very closely on helping us rebuild and rebrand our website and our brand. So we're going to have some new branding for MadMatt 4 Drive coming out in due course, and we're excited to show you what that'll look like. And yes, and we're building a brand new website as well. And the ethos behind this website, I'm pretty excited about it, because my whole thing with MadMatt has always been to be building the community. I'm not in this to just make myself rich and be a parasite on the community. I always want to be giving back and adding value. And so for me, the website's going to be a unique thing, in as much as we're going to be able to support you guys, support us, and support those who make and support manufacture products and so on. So it's going to be a win all round type of environment on that website, which I'm really excited about bringing, because I think it's going to help all of us. So yeah, so that's pretty exciting. And then we've also got some pretty big projects just been landed for the latter part of this year. So The one right in front of us at the moment is Terrain Tamer Four Wheel Drive, who you guys know well because we work with them closely, and I'm a big fan of what they do and their products and what they are seeking to do in the community. And so they've commissioned us to do Fast Parts 2. Now we did Fast Parts 1 last year, which was that short movie we made of the Ultra 4, Milo's Ultra 4 race car, bombing around delivering parts to the broken down Bandera. And that was our first attempt at doing something at that scale and that level, and it was a roaring success. Believe it or not, it was seen by well over 2 million people globally. How cool is that? That's phenomenal. Well, Terrain Tamer saw that as a great success, and they've put their trust in us again. They've stepped up the budget again, and we're going to be doing Fast Parts 2. And that's going to be filmed at Land Cruiser Mountain Park at the Ultra 4 Australia Round 2. So it's we've stepped up the production. We're actually going to be able to script write it properly. We're going to be able to really step it up and make another movie, another short movie, and 2 TV commercials for Terrain Tamer, and I'm so excited about that. And my race car is going to be in it, of course. Hey, when you're executive producer, you get to make those sort of calls, don't you? So, but there's a whole bunch of really cool action coming in that. So that's an exciting project. And then also, some of you would remember that I was heavily involved in the making of a four-wheel drive movie called Rough Stuff. The producer of that, director I should say, and writer of that, Jonathan Adams, he's a friend of mine. He's going to be directing Fast Parts for us and so on, but he's also creating another movie called Crawlers, and he's asked me to be heavily involved in the creation of that movie. It's not a four-wheel drive movie, it's a different genre, but it does have four-wheel drives in it, and so I'll be heavily involved in location scouting, purchasing the vehicles, unit management, which is making sure all the people are where they need to be and so on. So that's going to take up a good month or two of my time later in this year. So this year is just booking out and looking pretty exciting on all of those fronts. And then within all of that, we've got to service our normal customers, the guys at All 4x4 Spares, Oz10, Oricom, Terrain Tamer. They've got, we're creating regular content for these guys so they can help people understand their products and what they do. And so all of these guys are going to require our time. So we've got a very, very heavy schedule coming up to the end of the year. What's more, we've got to prepare a house to sell it. So, and then try and buy a house too and move. Whew, it's going to be busy. But we've also got, you all know, the COVID 80, which my son owns, and that rolled over in our family holiday at Christmas time. I'll link some of these videos like Fast Parts and the COVID 80 rollover down below, so you can go and watch those videos if you'd like. But I've got to rebuild that vehicle. So I've got the vehicle to replace it and repair it, a new body, new cab, all of that. And I've got the bent up COVID 80 there. We call it Igor now, because so we've got those there, but I've got to find a week in my schedule somewhere to actually help Jesse and build that vehicle back up, and I honestly don't know where I'm going to do that. I'm also got plans for the Bandera. That needs a new motor, a new gearbox. I want to make it V8, I want to make it auto, and I want to put 80 series diffs underneath it. So really finish that build off. That's a couple of weeks work easy in all of that. So I've got some massive projects that I'd want to do. Some of them I can't do just yet, but we've got all of that going on. Then next year, friends of ours, Pete and Lauren, who helped us start MadMatt, they filmed and edited some of our very early pieces of content. And I do mention them from time to time because they do deserve credit for helping start MadMatt 4 Drive with us. They're up in Brisbane, and they got a very successful wedding photography business up there, but they're starting to do some more stuff, very cool stuff in the four-wheel drive space. So we've been talking to them, and we're starting to have conversations around what we might be able to do next year with them about going touring and doing a little bit of content we've never done here at MadMatt 4 Drive, and that is touring content. Going and checking out some of these places in Australia, and we've got some ideas that we're exploring there. Nothing's in concrete yet, but we're pretty keen to take advantage of that moment in the early half of next year and see if we can go and hit the road for a period of time and with Pete and Lauren and do some cool content. So stay tuned. That could be a whole heap of fun. Now, this is really, all of that's exciting and sounds great and everything and a whole lot of work, but this bit's probably the negative of this conversation. So the weekly YouTube videos that Mrs. MadMatt and I put up, they take on average somewhere between 20 and 30 hours per week to produce. And we don't really make any money out of that. There's a little bit of Google AdWords, but it'll buy a few tanks of fuel a month, and that's about all we get out of that. So it's a very time-consuming and cost. It costs us literally. It costs us money to create those pieces of content. And now we're not complaining about that. That's what we choose to do because we want to give back and help the community grow. But what we've found, as you've just heard that list of what's happening coming up, we're not going to be able to continue the weekly YouTube videos in the short term. We definitely want to continue it. And in the long term, we'll step back up to it. But we're just running out of capacity. We've been working, 6-7 days a week with very little downtime, just trying to make sure that we can get everything done that we have to get done. And we're not quite at that scale point in our business where we can afford to outsource a lot of our editing and filming and stuff. We do a little bit of that, but most of it is just the two of us. And it's hard work, and like I say, we're not complaining about that. That's the reality of it. We're not scared of hard work, but when pressures start to come on you, and relationships start to suffer and stuff like that, you've got to make calls, and some of those calls are difficult. And we see that's one place we can just give ourselves a bunch of freedom to be able to focus on some of these other things coming up. So what it's going to mean in the short term is we're just going to say, for now, we're not doing a weekly YouTube video. If we can, we will have content come up, but it may look a little bit different. It may be just more like the last 2 weeks has been content that Luke Antrim from Patrol in Oz, head over to his page on Instagram and Facebook, give him a like. He's been editing those videos for us, and he's been helping us a lot with just some of our social media stuff and just generally helping us with it, in some smaller ways around the business, which has been great, and we've really appreciated that. And so he may be able to, we might go for a quick wheel somewhere, he'll film that and edit that up and chuck that on YouTube. So it may have a different feel, but we wanted to explain it to you guys so you understood where we're at and where we're going and why things are going to change a little bit. And we do really, really appreciate the support you guys give to us just by clicking like, making a comment. It's encouraging, because otherwise this can be a very lonely and dry business, let me assure you, where you just wonder, are we making a difference? So every time you comment, every time you just say like, every time somebody goes to A247 and buys a product and we see a small commission come through, it's encouragement. And yes, it helps us eat, because I like to eat, but it's encouragement to us that we're doing something that you guys value. So just thanks so much for the support. Thanks for everything. It's exciting times ahead, and let's see where this all ends up. I'm MadMatt. Stay safe on the trails.